I don't know who told all the job seekers that the job search process and interviewing is a company's way of assessing you, and that's it. That's just half the equation. The other half is for you to assess the company, the role fit, the culture fit to what happens to you. Please don't get so busy focusing on just finding any other job that you forget that you have to live through that job. The worst thing you can do in a job search where you spend months is to join a company or a role which you regret doing within a couple of months. So you have to be very careful. And in today's video, I'm going to share with you some of the signs to keep an eye on when I'm doing reflections with my candidates when they are in a job search process or after the interview. I always ask them, what are some of the red flags or areas where you would need clarification at a later stage? You may not want to do that immediately, but you still have to clarify different things. So let's focus on that in today's video. Hi, my name is Shub Faujdar. Welcome back to the channel. I'm a Singapore-based job search strategist and career coach and a former corporate recruiter. If you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel. I release new videos every Tuesday and Thursdays. Tuesdays are less than 2 minutes, power-packed action tips for your job search and career development, and Thursdays are a bit of a deep dive. So back to our signs where we need to see whether this company is a good fit or not. Now, the number one sign is how they run the whole job search process. Look, you and the company need to be at the same level of partnership. Yes, they are much bigger than you. They are employing a lot of people, but you also spend your skills, time, sweat, blood, effort, energy in making the company grow. If they are not treating you with the right kind of respect in the job search process, it tells you a lot about the company. Now, we need to have some realistic expectations here. I'm fully mindful that when you apply online, you can't expect a recruiter to respond to you. They are dealing with tens of thousands of applications at one point in time. So I'm not talking about that. But once you've gone to advanced interviews, once you've spoken to the hiring manager, they need to keep you posted on what's happening. Also, how you're going through the rounds of interviews. Are they making you do 2-3 days worth of work for free? Are they just taking all the ideas? Are they not answering all your questions? Are they ghosting you at every stage and then coming back up after 3-4 weeks, hoping and expecting that you would jump at the opportunity? These are all very, very important signs of how the company is going to treat you once you join the company. So if you're going through any of these things, please note these signs. Also, I'm mindful. Depends on who you are interacting with. If you're working directly with the recruiter and they're not responding to you, or an external recruiter, then I would give a bit of leeway. But if you are in touch with hiring manager, after that, you have already been shortlisted for an advanced round. They need to take you seriously. If they are not, again, I will note that sign down. The second sign is the chemistry with the interviewers, especially with the hiring manager. Look, you can join one of the best companies in the world, but if your hiring manager is not supportive, if there's no chemistry, it's going to be very difficult. How did the interview go? Was it an easy conversation? Now, I do know that some hiring managers love to do stress interviews. They want to see how you respond to pressure, how you respond to stress, and that's okay. Again, I would not look at this sign as a total way of coming out of a job search process. What I would look at is, let me note down that this was a stress interview. If they do happen to take you to advanced rounds or offer you the role, you want to have another conversation with the hiring manager to see how the chemistry goes, because I can't emphasize enough how important it is for your direct manager, direct leader to have a good relationship with you. I've seen careers plateauing just because the hiring manager and the candidate did not align well after joining the company. And you know what? Who would get penalized if you don't do well in the role after joining it? You. They might not convert you after probation or may just ask you to leave. So be very careful about the chemistry with the hiring manager and critical stakeholders, people who you would be partnering very closely with. If the hiring manager leaves, the people who are directly responsible for the work, who you would have interactions with, will be very, very important. So make sure that your conversations with them during the job search process reveal to you whether you're comfortable with them or not. Number 3, now it's very similar to the point earlier, which is chemistry with the interviewers, but I have to mention it separately because it's so important. Do they answer your questions? Do they give you space to ask questions about the role, about the company, about the industry, about the culture? And when you ask them questions, do they get defensive or they genuinely answer your questions? I've had cases where, some particular aspect of the culture of the company comes out in the reviews again and again. And when the candidate asks the hiring manager that, look, through my research, I read a lot of reviews and found this particular element of culture, say micromanagement, being very prevalent, specifically in this particular office. What have you done? What are your thoughts about it? The interviewer got very defensive and wasn't very happy. Now, it tells you that this is a point of contention. You have to be very careful with this element of the culture. If this is something which you're not very comfortable with, again, note these things down. You don't have to come out of the process immediately, but before you make the decision, whether you take the offer or not, you have to consider all these things in totality. Red flag 4, if they are asking you question about a particular situation again and again in multiple rounds. Once I had a client who was interviewing with a very big Fortune 500 payments company. And in all rounds of interviews with every stakeholder, they were talking about conflict resolution. And to us, it was a very clear sign that there may be a lot of conflict management involved in that particular role. So don't just focus on impressing the interviewers. Also note, are there any patterns of questions they are asking? Is there any particular skill or soft skill they are focusing more on? That tells you what's the immediate pain point of the hiring manager. Now, good thing about my client was he was absolutely comfortable with conflict management. But even before he joined the organization, without hearing it directly from the company, he was able to understand what he's getting into. And it's so critical to make an informed decision when it comes to your job search, because you don't want to be blindsided with a particular situation which is happening everywhere in the organization. So keep your ears open for the kind of questions they are asking you again and again about. And sign number 5, if they get offended with every little thing. I once had somebody ask me in a workshop that they sent a thank you email to the interviewer, and the interviewer was upset that they reached them out on email to thank them. Now, again, you don't know what the situation is. I don't know what was happening there, but to me, it would be a sign. If this person is getting offended because somebody thanked them for their time for the interview and sent a short email, you need to be careful who you are going to be working with. I mean, if they didn't like it, they could have just moved on. But these subtle little things give you all these signs. And you know what? I love to use the approach which a lot of career coaches and coaching tells you. You should listen to all 3 elements when making decision which impacts your life. So whether it's job search, career development, the kind of people you hang out with, head, heart, and hunch, 3H approach. Of course, the logical side, which is the head. You write these things down, you see whether this is the right role for you, it's the right company, industry, etc. heart would be, the way this role appeals to you, the kind of people you've been meeting. But there will always be that little voice at the back of your mind, sometimes which says, don't go for this role. You're feeling very nervous. Every time you think about this role, you just jam up. Please do not ignore those signs, because you are taking these subtle signs already telling you that this is not the right fit. So listen to all these things. You have as much say in the assessment of the company and the role as they have about you. It just cannot be a one-way street where you take on any position and then regret going to work every single day of your life. So I hope this video gave you some signs. There can be many, many different signs. If you've observed some of these during your interviewing or job search process, please do leave comments below so it can help the whole community to understand what are some other signs. And before we go off, I'm very happy to announce that RN Science of Networking for Job Search is now live. It's a comprehensive course I've created for all aspects of networking. The only course, hopefully, that you would ever need to get networking success in your job search. It comprises of 9 chapters, 33 videos, there are PowerPoint slides, there are examples, and also some sample templates. So if you're interested in that particular course, the details will be there in the description. Please do take a look. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Go make an impact.